Hey everybody, it's Tuesday here at KatiMorton.com, and that means that I'm on Tumblr. And many of you have asked questions. Holy Jesus, there's a lot of questions. And today I'm kind of in a hurry because I'm going back to the office. So I'm here and I'm videoing, and then I'm going to head back. So I will try to get to some more of your questions when I get back, but I have 4 today as well as a journal topic. And so hopefully these will help answer some of the questions that I couldn't get to. And thank you all for asking all your questions. I couldn't do it without you, and know that by asking, you're helping others, because for every one of you who has that question and actually asks it, there are hundreds who haven't asked it, okay? So question number 1. Hey Kati, can you fully recover from self-harming? I haven't self-harmed about 4 months, but sometimes I'm thinking that if I ever stop therapy, I might slip back, and it terrifies me. Yes, you can. It is a process, and you will find for, I don't know, a year or 2, maybe more. Everybody's different, right? But you'll find that when things get really stressful, or when something happens that may trigger like an abuse, a flashback or something, that the urge to self-harm will come back. Boop. Just like our eating disorder, our depression, anxiety, anything like that. When we get really stressed out, or our anxiety gets really high, or we have a trigger that we don't come in contact with that often, that urge will come back. But the thing that's different and will change as we recover more is it'll feel more like we can watch the urge float by. Like it's almost like it's on a cloud and it just kind of floats by. We don't have to act on it. The urge isn't so strong that we feel like we have to do it. It's like it comes back and we notice it, if that makes sense. And there'll come a point in your life where that never happens anymore. But sometimes you can get those thoughts back, and that doesn't mean that you're not recovered, and that doesn't mean that it's always going to be there. It's just a process, and it takes time. And I promise you, the more that we work at this, and the longer we fight those urges, and the harder we work, that the more quickly it will go away. Okay? And if any of you have experience with this that you'd like to share, as always, leave your comments below. Let's help one another, right? Okay, question number 2, #KatieFAQ. Is it normal for abusers to not admit the abuse? My parents were abusing me for years, but they are refusing any of it. And they're refusing any of it to my therapist, and they don't want to get involved in my recovery. It makes me feel like I'm crazy and a liar. It's very common. Oftentimes, especially if they're people who are close to you and in your life, like parents or siblings, oftentimes they either, one, have blocked it out themselves because it was a really horrible, stressful thing that they did, and they just can't even, they don't know why they did it, and their guilt is so palpable that they have blocked it. Or 2, they refuse to take any ownership over it because they don't want to admit that they've done wrong. They don't want all the repercussions that come along with it. They're usually embarrassed and shame-filled, as they should be, right? It's very common, and they'll oftentimes like try to roadblock us from getting help and stop us from recovery, and they'll try to get in the way of everything, because by us getting help, that means that they're going to have to admit to wrongdoing, and someone else is going to hear that they're not these perfect parents, and they actually did things that are really harmful. So know that it's not you. You're not alone. Often abusers pretend that this never happened because it's easier to live there, if you think about it, to live in that "this never happened, I don't know what they're talking about" kind of space. But what that does is it can damage us more. But what I'm encouraging you to do is not let it, and fight back against their voices. You don't have to yell at them and don't have to fight with them, but know in your heart what happened, and maybe have a mantra you tell yourself when they say things like that, like, yeah, say whatever you want to say. You can pretend it didn't exist, but I know it did, or whatever you need to say, because they'll do this as a way to protect themselves. But you know what? We have to protect ourselves, because they're actually the problem. Okay? Question number 3. Can you study psychology / become a therapist when you have a mental illness? Or do you have to be recovered? #KatieFAQ. You can definitely study anything you want in school. You can do whatever. That's the great thing about schools. You can do a lot of self-exploration. You can try different classes and do different things. But becoming a therapist or becoming a mental health professional does require you to be recovered. Not all walks of that will require it. Like when I worked in the hospitals, it wasn't within an eating disorder treatment center. It was just like hospitals, like schizophrenics, bipolar, people who were long-term care. They didn't ask anything about that. However, in the eating disorder clinic, they definitely do. They ask about your history. They ask if you've had an eating disorder, if you did, how long have you been recovered? What kind of treatment did you get? They'll ask all sorts of questions. And I know that the places that I worked at required that you be recovered for numerous years, and everybody's different. So I would definitely look into getting your self-help, because the truth of it is that we have to help ourselves before we can even consider helping other people. And I've always been a believer in that there are two types of therapists. There are therapists who get into therapy to get therapy for themselves. Like they get into the realm to learn more about themselves, which is actually not that good for our patients. And then there's people who get into therapy to be a therapist and help other people. And the difference between the two is the ones who are becoming therapists to help others have already worked on their shit. You know, and we work on it. It's a constant battle. I go to therapy myself. I'm always trying to better myself, better understand my situation, where I'm coming from, how I've navigated my life thus far, etc. Right? And so make sure that you're taking care of yourself so that when you get into this practice, you're actually there to just help other people. Okay? Does that make sense? And if you have other questions about that, you can let me know, because I get this question a lot. Question number 4, #KatieFAQ. Is it necessary to tell my teachers and boss about my disorders? I hate getting any type of sympathy, but sometimes they get really concerned, and I just want to tell them, I'm already getting help, so chill out. Sorry, I'm getting really warm. We're having like a heat wave here in California. Holy schmamolies. It's not necessary for you to tell them. Who we tell is at our discretion. So if you feel like telling your teachers and your boss is going to help you in the long run and help you in your recovery process, then by all means tell them. But as far as they're concerned, it's none of their business, and they can't even ask. It's actually against the law, in California at least, for your boss to ask anything like that, because that's your personal life. So if you feel that it would help and you want to tell them, you can tell them. But if you feel like it's just them being nosy and them trying to get in your business or whatever, then don't tell them. I would take some time and think about it, and think about who, maybe if one of them you feel one way and one you feel the other, then maybe just tell one or whatever. But make sure it's all around you and your recovery and what's best for your process, because it's up to us and at our discretion who we tell. Not everybody has to know, okay? Now, the journal topic today. And this is because I've signed up for some things with one of my girlfriends, Kim. We're going to donate our time in San Francisco soon. And it made me think about giving back. And also I got some amazing gifts, and I actually have them right over here. I got some wonderful cards. I don't want to show you where they came from because some people are really funny about it, but I got some gorgeous cards. My holiday card, can you see that one? Seasons, yes. And then I got this cool and really hilarious and adorable horse postcard. But look at all this stuff, and look at all the time it took to write all these little, I love all this stuff, you guys. And there's a butterfly. There's so much stuff, but I'll stop. Okay, so there's a butterfly. I posted all the pictures on Instagram. So if you want to see more of my goodie stuff from my P.O. box, check out my Instagram, Katie Morton 1. But things like that, like doing things for others and letting other people know how important they are to us. I am a big fan of sending my girlfriends and people in my life, my family, cards just randomly, just because. Because everybody knows how wonderful it is to receive mail, right? I love receiving mail. So what have you done lately to help reach out and spread the love or share? Even working at a soup kitchen. Those are the things I signed up for in San Francisco. We're going to help build some houses and do work at a soup kitchen, and just ways you can give back. Because I find when I do that, I get so much more out of it myself. And these can even be small things, like when we're around in our daily life, like letting someone go in front of us, or, oh, miss, you dropped whatever, being kind and like paying it forward in a way, I guess. So what's something you can do this week where you feel like you're paying it forward or you're giving back? And then I want you to journal about how it felt to do it and what you got out of it. Because sometimes if we're feeling down, this can really help pull us out. And I think it will really help, because it's something that I really love to do. And I know that I have to make a point of signing up for stuff so that I'll do it, because we get so busy, right? So let's make some time this week to do something for others and notice how you feel afterwards. Okay? I love you all. Tomorrow's Wednesday, and I'll be on YouTube as well as my website, so you can go under community, forums, Q&A for videos. Oh, and before I forget, if any of you are like, hey, I've been clicking on the self-harm workbook and I keep downloading the eating disorder workbook, that's because the self-harm workbook isn't out yet, because I'm fighting with the website, like I said. So know that when it does come out, I will let you know. I will tweet it. I will do whatever. Don't feel like you're going to miss out. Okay? I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.